I learned about an extremely degenerate cop today that had a video surface with his behavior that's probably more embarrassing to the department than that cop that started going like G.I. Joe mode and just mag dumping after an acorn fell on his squad car. Officer Anthony Hare of the San Diego Pussy Department found himself in hot water after he was caught red-handed in the back seat with a female arrestee after she said she was down to fuck. So, one can infer from the context here that they weren't back there playing any Magic the Gathering. They weren't having themselves a commander night. There was sin and semen that contaminated the vehicle. He laid down more than justice that night. He's since resigned, but you can scrub away the cum, but you can't scrub the video footage because it has surfaced. Not of him actually, doing the dirty deeds here, but of him being caught because he locked himself in the back seat and thus needed assistance. And speaking of assistance, I bet you need help drinking beverages in a better way. That's what this Moist Gamer Subs Waifu Collab Cup is all about. It's still available for about one more week, so go ahead and get this puppy right now. It's the finest goblet you'll ever drink out of. I'll put a link to it in the description. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you the video here as we go over the more particular elements of the case. So there was an officer in San Diego. Here, I'll just play the video. You don't even need to read the breakdown. I'll just show you the video real quick.
Well, you're not. Don't say that right now. I said don't say that right now because everything's being recorded right now.
So this opened my eyes to a problem that I talked about a lot. That cops have full control over when they can stop recording something. So he mentions right there, this woman's like, I'm super down to fuck. And Anthony, he's pitching a tent. He's like, oh. And he's like, wait, don't say anything because this is still recording right now. He hasn't had a chance to turn it off. But he does. He does get that chance.
What's going on?
So then he takes her down here, and then they slam ham, and he gets locked in the back seat of the car. So he pulls over here. He and this woman, they do the hanky-panky in the back seat of the police cruiser, and Goober's stuck. So then another officer gets to the scene to free him. In front of a house. Yeah, that was another thing. The place he pulls in front of is just a fucking house. Like, imagine, like, you see the police car pull up, you're like, oh god, what's happening out here? And then you see this officer fucking in the back seat of the car here. Like, he didn't even go anywhere secluded or anything. He literally just slabs up in front of this house. I also just learned a little, I guess a little hack here for police cars. You can open the back door with that. That's a little trick.
114 yellow. What code for? Everything just went wrong. Okay, hold on. Let me turn my camera off.
Isn't that fucking awful?
She's code 4? Okay. Yeah, let me turn this off real quick.
Wait, before you confess to all of the awful shit you just did right here, let me turn off my camera. So that way there's no evidence. You turned off your camera, right? Okay, good, just making sure. That's so dumb. If you can just turn it off whenever, it's so fucking stupid. Typically it was like, oh, the camera malfunctioned, but here it's just like, wait, let me turn this off. Like, what's the point? No, he got fired. Or resigned or whatever. His claim is that he was just checking on her and that everything went wrong. You can see him like saying like everything just went wrong. I was just being such a gentle sir. I went back there to make sure everything was okay. I moonlight as a gynecologist, and she was having a medical emergency with throbbing pussy syndrome, and I went back there, and one thing leads to another. I'm stuck in the back seat. And now you're probably getting the wrong idea about what happened here. It was totally professional. The semen was there earlier from a different suspect. You should have seen this fucking maniac. This degenerate was jerking off in the back seat and fucking blowing loads all over the place. It's not my semen. And if you can trace it to me, it's because it's because he got some of my hair. He got some of my DNA. Oh, he was looking for contraband. So true. Keeping the streets safe. I was back there purely to make sure there were no drugs. She obviously planted the evidence on his belt. Now, the official explanation here from the source itself, Mr. Anthony Hare, says that he went back there because he believed that the woman was having a medical emergency. I'm actually inclined to believe Mr. Hare on this claim because I think there is a very high chance she was suffering a medical emergency. Cock withdrawals. This is a serious medical condition. In fact, it claimed the life of one of my buddy's grandmothers when we were growing up. She actually passed away from wiener withdrawals. If left unattended, the symptoms can be severe and even life-threatening. So Mr. Hare was just following his code to the letter. Protect and serve. Penis. And he didn't want to do it. Brother is a hero. He shouldn't be forced to resign over a misunderstanding. He should have been given the key to the city, I'd say. This whole thing is a classic example of it's not what it looks like, you know. He did what he had to do in the moment. And then, if we go back to the explanation, it all makes perfect sense. When he was getting out of the car, it accidentally knocked his body camera off, which is just a pure coincidence that the body camera, went dark after she had made the statement about being down to have sex and after him mentioning that the body camera was recording things. It's just really just unfortunate timing that he happened to have knocked the body camera off and it went dark right after those things had been said. But it could happen to anybody. According to the other officer, Mr. Hare was pretty embarrassed, refusing to elaborate on exactly what was happening and why he needed him out there and why he was asking about like a master key to the vehicle and stuff like that. And the woman was also, interviewed by investigators, and she claimed that he had asked for her number and to meet up when she was released from jail, saying he wanted to get with me when I was done with the warrant or whatever I got arrested for. She told investigators there was never any sexual contact between her and Mr. Hare. Really? You sure about that? What happened? Was there ejaculation showers that night? Why did he have cum on him? Where was that? Did someone drive by and throw in a cum potion? How did that happen if there was no sexual contact? But who am I to question the official story, I suppose? One thing I would like to see a little bit more elaboration on is why the officer who showed up told him to stop talking so he could turn off his body cam and they continue the conversation. That's a little weird, right? If it was all just a big misunderstanding, wouldn't you want that on record so you could clear up all of the misconceptions about it? That just seems a little suspicious. I just think it's super dumb that at any point in time an officer can just turn off their body cam and that doesn't lead to a lot of questions about why. I don't know, that just rubs me the wrong way. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of it, really. I wonder how often this happens. Probably more often than you'd think, I would guess. You remember, I actually made a video on this one a year ago. There was a cop who slabbed up in front of a school. I think it was a high school. And had a woman come into his police cruiser so they could fucking clap cheeks, so that way they could steam ham together in the back seat of his police cruiser in front of the school, and then he would kick her out. So they were having an affair, and they do it in front of a school. So it probably happens a lot. In general, is it illegal to have sex in a car? That's a really good question. I'm gonna Google it. Because I think it would count as public indecency or something, right? Wouldn't it, if you got caught? But you can have sex in a car in your garage or something. If it's on private property and not in public. I think you just have to be out of view of the public. Generally, it is illegal to have sex in public if a reasonable person believes that someone will see them. Therefore, if you do not have reasonable expectation of privacy and you decide to have sex in your car, you could be brought up on criminal charges. Yeah. So you can if it's not in public view. So somewhere private. Which makes sense. Makes membership pricky. Though I like the idea that there's just a blanket illegality to it, like having sex in a car will have you in jail no matter where you do it. So like you park your car in your garage, you fuck your wife or whatever, and then all of a sudden the sirens are blaring like, get the fuck out! Get off the ground! We know what you just did here! You're going to the slammer! Having sex in a car! Have you no decency? If you fuck in your car in the garage, do you leave it running? Educational question. I guess it depends on how long you last. If you're a one-pump chump, you could probably get away with leaving your car on, but if you actually go for a while, like maybe there's a carbon monoxide risk, potentially. I guess it depends on how long you do it. I would say you'd probably want to turn your car off just to be safe. You could at least leave the electrical on and have the air blowing. Probably don't need the whole car on. If you die mid-nut, will the semen that comes out still be viable? I don't see why not. There's a lot of bad news in the world, so allow me to cleanse your palate with some good news. A very tasty treat for you today. 8 months ago, I made a video covering the story of a Rhode Island criminal named Nicholas Alaverdian. Nincompoop Nicholas here tried to avoid punishment for his crime, and he fled the country after faking his own death. It wasn't an elaborate fake death ruse, it wasn't a galaxy brain scheme, he didn't exactly call up best quality vacuum from Breaking Bad and order a Hoover Max or anything, but he was successful in leaving the United States and evading authorities, and he started a new life with a new alias, Arthur Knight, which was only one of many names that he went by. He was changing his name more frequently than kids used to on Club Penguin, but Arthur Knight was by far his most used alias. Now, it's important that I tell you what charges he was trying to run away from. Rape charges. You see, Nicholas Alaverdian, Nicholas Rossi, Arthur Knight, all one and the same. A rapist. He faked his death in 2020 by feeding media outlets a bunch of baloney and horseradish about how he's about to die, he's about to meet his demise, but the reality was, he was just trying to get out of the country while the authorities were investigating the rape allegations. So he did get out of the country, and he tried very hard to bury his past, but in 2021, he had to check himself into the hospital for COVID-related symptoms, and that's when the authorities were able to identify that this patient is actually the wanted U.S. fugitive Nicholas Alaverdian. And while parading around as Arthur Knight, he tried desperately to convince people that this was all a complete misunderstanding, or that he had been framed, claiming that it was all part of a grand conspiracy to connect him, the innocent Arthur Knight, to this rapist, Nicholas Alaverdian. He kept trying to insist that it's a miscarriage of justice what's happening to him, it's wrong, it's outrageous. But it's not like they just gave it the old eyeball test or the smell test to connect him. They had every piece of hard evidence possibly required to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that these are the same person. They had DNA evidence. He had identifiable tattoos that they were easily able to connect to Nicholas Alaverdian. Like, they had everything, fingerprints, all of it, the whole kit and caboodle. And the judge even said as much as well.
In July, Knight was arrested again, and prosecutors matched his fingerprints to Alaverdian's. Friday, prosecutors of the Scottish court revealed they were able to tell he was Alaverdian after matching the tattoos on his arm.
I am ultimately satisfied on the balance of probabilities.
And even in the face of overwhelming evidence against him, he kept trying. Like the world's worst anime character refusing to give up, Nicholas Alaverdian kept desperately trying to convince even a single soul on this planet that it was all just a misunderstanding. He's Arthur Knight, damn it, not Nicholas. So he now has this infamous interview he did where he tried to prove it.
To the media, our lives have been interrupted, and we'd like privacy, and I would like to go back to being a normal husband. But I can't, because I can't breathe, I can't walk. People say that's an act. Let me try to stand up. Let me try.
No, don't do it.
stand up.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
We almost lost him.
What do you say to someone who believes that you are Nicholas Alaverdian?
I am not, Andrea. I am not Nicholas Alaverdian. I do not know how to make this clear.
What do you say?
He's
to
got
people
that
who say
rock
these are
bottom
crocodile
intonation
tears,
going on.
he's
I'm
putting on
not
a show,
Nicholas.
This is all an act.
Oh, you could.
Oh.
Andrea,
No,
that's a low blow. That's a right low blow.
That really was a low blow to say that it's all just putting on a show and an act. It's more than that. He's out here with a fucking performance that would make every thespian troupe in America jealous. This is Oscar-worthy material that we're working with here. To suggest that it's just a show or an act, it's disrespectful, honestly. This is one of the finest, most convincing pieces of anything I've ever seen in my fucking life. But as you might imagine, this didn't work super well. Nobody believed this. Actually, nobody on the fucking planet believed this. However, he does travel with his supporting actress here for this interview, where she sits next to him and she's like trying to calm him down, like, no, don't do that. Not that death-defying stunt where you stand up. Oh, you're gonna hurt yourself, dear. Please, no. No! Like panicking when he stands up and starts, wacky inflatable tube manning his arms around, like he's getting hit with an earthquake or something. So he does have her traveling with him, I guess, to try and make it seem more credible, I guess. Clearly, it doesn't work. So anyway, what is the good news here? Well, the good news is Nicholas Alaverdian is being extradited to the U.S. He is finally going to face the punishment that he has eluded for so long now. U.S. fugitive accused of faking his death to avoid rape charges, extradited from Scotland. In case you don't know who this is, let me pull up his infamous interview where he tried to prove that he is not the rapist. So that little song and dance he tried to put on for the thespian troupe, it's coming from a very bad man. It's not exactly like, some minor offense or anything that he's trying to weasel his way out of with that. The man known in the U.S. as Nicholas Rossi, whose legal name is Nicholas Alaverdian, is charged with sexually assaulting a former girlfriend in Utah in 2008. He also faces multiple complaints against him in Rhode Island for alleged domestic violence. Rossi, 36, was Utah-bound on Friday and will stand trial in Utah County for felony rape charges. The man said he was framed by authorities who took his fingerprints while he was in a coma so they could connect him to Rossi. He repeatedly appeared in court in a wheelchair using an oxygen mask and speaking in less than convincing British accent. I'm glad they didn't just let it go. I'm glad that they did fight to get him back so that he could finally face punishment. I can't believe Arthur Knight could be slandered like this. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. Now, even amidst all of this, he still has the gall to continue to state that it's a case of mistaken identity and that he is an Irish orphan named Arthur Knight. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. Even though he is dead to rights with the overwhelming amount of concrete proof that he is Nicholas Alaverdian, he still keeps wiggling his finger saying, nope, that's not me. You got the case all wrong, Buster. I'm Arthur Knight. It is actually that scene out of SpongeBob with Man Ray and Patrick when he drops his wallet. I also just have to include this because it is so unbelievably outrageous. So again, he is sticking to his story that he is Arthur Knight. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is all just a big misunderstanding. A case of mistaken identity. And as I've stated, they have concrete proof that he is indeed Nicholas Alaverdian, one of them being his arm tattoos and fingerprints. So, Alaverdian, when confronted with this, talking about his distinctive arm tattoos and fingerprints that left no doubt about his real identity, he claimed that he testified that somebody inked those tattoos on his body while he was in a coma, hospitalized in Glasgow with COVID-19, and that a hospital staffer had taken his fingerprints and sent them to Utah. And as the article states, his testimony left the courtroom observers with mouths agape. It leaves my jaw on the floor too, that he would even try to say something like that. That is the most nonsensical story ever told. Let's just go ahead and play with that idea for a moment. Why would a hospital staffer take your fingerprints and send them to Utah, of all places? Again, he is not in the United States. Why would they send his fingerprints internationally to Utah to just frame a random guy? What kind of fucking conspiracy would that be? And then also, who the fuck would tattoo a man in a coma at a hospital just to connect him to the guy in Utah again, this Arthur Knight academic Irish orphan? Like, what is, like, I don't know why he thought anybody in the world would believe this. Not even the most delusional individual would hear this and think there is an iota of truth to it. Yet he continues to stick with that story. It's fucking wild. But again, he has been extradited to the US now, so he will finally be facing punishment that is long overdue. So that's good news, and I just had to give you the update to this. That's really about it. See ya. Hey, how are you? Are you having a good day? I hope so. And I hope you won't be mad at me if I try and change that real quick. I want to put a very yucky TikTok creep on your radar, and it's someone I'm sure some of you have heard of over the last year or so. He's become a bit of an infamous boogeyman that a lot of people have talked about. Most notably, Oompaville made a whole video on him, kind of breaking down all of the awful degenerate shit he's done. He was actually quite popular. He had over 1 million followers on there. His initial account was called Snapshot Eye. He then had to make other ones in lieu of a lot of allegations that came out and a lot of information that went public. His real name is Paul Breach, which is fitting because he keeps breaching the restraining order parents have against him to protect the safety of their children online. I'm only kidding about that. I don't know if there's any actual restraining orders against him. Even if there were, it would mean nothing to him. You can't teach the breach. He's going to continue to flirt and act inappropriately with underage kids on TikTok. It's all he knows, damn it. So, Paul Breach is an alleged predator, but a confirmed creep. And I'm not here to just go over all of the allegations. There's quite a few videos that cover them extraordinarily well. The reason I'm talking about him is he's blowing up yet again thanks to a clip of his that just went viral. This is during one of his nightmarish TikTok lives.
Oh, there's a plane crashed in Tanzania. Go flying into the lake.
So he gets this tragic news and immediately goes right back into lip syncing and shit. Now keep in mind, this man is in his 40s. Now, I'm sure you didn't need me to tell you that. You can look at him and immediately deduce this isn't exactly a teenage boy here doing this cringe-ass lip-sync shit. Terrorists have infiltrated a local Burger King. Oh, jeez. And they're slitting the throat of the hostages. Jinkies. Hey, prayers to the families. And I'm sure after just seeing this, you're probably not surprised to learn that he's got a very foul past. So, he's no spring chicken. He's in his 40s here, and he constantly engages inappropriately with young girls in his audience, and it's something he's come under heavy scrutiny for a long time. He's actually somewhat of a pseudo-celebrity in the UK, where people sometimes have gone out of their way to find him and make fun of him directly to his face. Sometimes there's even like in the wild spottings like Bigfoot where they'll start filming him and then go up and start insulting him. And it's become something of a beloved pastime over the last year. It died down once he kind of fell off, but now that this clip is blowing up again, I've seen that his channel on TikTok, at least the one I believe is still his, is getting quite a bit more traction from it. Even though this isn't necessarily the newest clip, it is a very silly and surprising one that a lot of people have had their curiosity piqued by, so went out of their way to find more from him. Thus, Paul Breach, the cockroach, continues to somewhat thrive. His whole shtick is posting thirst traps, even though if you're thirsty, this isn't gonna quench it. What he's doing is just gonna be putting sand in your mouth and making it worse, like giving you the fucking cinnamon challenge. What he posts is the opposite of a thirst trap. It is alarming. He is way too old to be doing this garbage. And I don't mean to be mean and rude, but he's not exactly a 10 out of 10 looking gentleman here. It's also worth mentioning this kind of thing isn't uncommon for his streams, though it is probably his most preposterous moment ever recorded. To go from horrible news right back into his god-awful thirst trapping.
Oh, bless you, love. Bless you. Love.
I just wanted to show you another clip of how unhinged his TikTok lives are. So sometimes he'll just play sound effects to give the impression that there's other people around him, always women. This one, I don't even understand what the thought process was. I think he sat on a whoopee cushion to make a fart noise, as if it was like a girl over there farting, and he's like, oh goodness, hey now, that butthole's not meant to be usable, it's just supposed to be aesthetic for me. Girls shouldn't be fucking farting. Despicable. And then he plays a very clearly stock sneeze sound effect and then goes even further, love? And then, like, gets, like, angry about it, it seems.
Fucking hell. Jacob, thanks for the follow. So much. That is a fucking cracking impression of me, love. How you do that?
It's actually one of the saddest goddamn things imaginable. To be so fucking lonely that you have to fake interaction around you on a TikTok live stream where people go there mainly to make fun of you, because by this point he had already become kind of like a TikTok spittoon for people to stop in and spit a loogie into. But like I mentioned, unfortunately there were a few young fans that would reach out to him, and he would always reciprocate being flirtatious. He even got called out on this pretty often, way before like he had to take his account down. I think he got banned. I don't think he took it down. But there were always people taking notice of like, Paul, why do you always just reply to like these really young girls?
Why do you only talk to girls in the comments? Because it's only the girls that are commenting, and if it's a comment from a guy, I say hi. I don't know. Maybe because I'm dating them all and we're having babies. Only to the ones I'm married to, which is all of them.
Who could have imagined that the 40-something-year-old man making thirst traps aimed at children would turn out to be a real weirdo? I can't believe it. It's always the ones you least expect, am I right? I'd also like to show you another one of his clips that's somewhat blowing up right now. This is apparently one that he sent directly to a fan, and it is so uncomfortable to watch.
Lainey, smile. That is an order. And then jump in a cold bath. Get yourself smiling, get yourself happy. I've been a moody little, for a little while, and that is just stupid on my behalf. So I apologise if anything I've ever done has brought you in low mood. I know I was an idiot at the start of the week, and I've taken steps to fix that. But you need to smile, you need to be happy. You've got a beautiful smile. Please use it, perhaps.
His brain just blue screens there for a moment. Windows had to have a hard reset there. He had his own little Mitch McConnell moment during this message that he sent to one of his fans.
It's always nice to get a message from your sweet. And it's always lovely to see that smile.
What an uplifting video. I know you're sad, but have you tried not being sad and just smiling? Because I'm ordering you to. In fact, you don't have a choice. Smile. And you will feel better, because it'll make me feel better. And you should be happy when I'm happy. Damn it. I don't know, everything about this guy is really weird. So, since he is blown up recently, I just wanted to at least make people aware of who he is and his past, because he's not exactly just some, like, goofy guy. He's an unhinged, weird guy with a lot of serious accusations against them. And I've only just begun to scratch the surface of how awful a lot of the things he's being accused of are. And a lot of them he's never denied or anything at all, really. He just buries his head and pushes forward, doing more lip-syncing and bad dancing. And people have confronted him directly, and he still never really denies any of it. It's hard to explain, and the whole point of this video was just to let you all know, Paul Breach sucks. That's about it. See ya. Have you ever watched something, seen it with your own peepers, and then we're still told that what you saw isn't real? That's not true? And I'm not talking like a magic trick where you're talking about like, wow, I watched a magician make a toothpick vanish from his thumb. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm not talking about something like that where there's wiggle room where it was an illusion or something, or swamp gas reflecting off of a blimp or something to explain alien UFOs or whatever. Like, I'm not talking anything like, messy. I'm talking about when you witness something that is so clear-cut That there's no further context or anything that could change the understanding of what happened, and yet there's still people that are defending it as, nope, that's a lie. Because this deplorable lunacy is unfolding right now. The FIFA World Cup Women's Championship just concluded, and during the awards given out to the winners, the Royal Spanish Football Federation president Luis Rubiales grabbed one of the players' heads and gave the wettest, most sloppy, disgusting, revolting, unwanted kiss that's ever been televised. And it is, you can see the whole thing. It's a 5-second clip. All of it fits in 5 seconds. Every bit of context and everything. And you can see the kiss. It's clear as day. It's 4K footage. You know, this is the FIFA World Cup, so it's also probably got 360-degree coverage. You could probably watch this from 60,000 different angles. And yet, Luis Rubiales and his team of defense drones, fucking soulless husks, vampires that represent him, are claiming that it's actually all a lie. This is all just a bunch of baloney. This hoo-ha, this hooey, this nothing burger. This is a load of horseradish. Luis Rubiales is completely innocent. He did nothing wrong, and the truth will come out. The woman that he unconsensually kissed is named Ginny Hermoso, and she did speak about this. She said, "I did not like this incident. I felt vulnerable and a victim of an impulse-driven, sexist, out-of-place act without any consent on my part." And in response to that, the Royal Spanish Football Federation has stood by Luis Rubiales and apparently has even threatened legal action against Hermoso and others, which is a fucking unbelievably evil action to take. She was just up there collecting her award for being on the winning team of one of the biggest events you can imagine. And then out of nowhere, like a jump scare, this Cronenbergian horrifying freakazoid grabs her by the skull like Omni-Man about to crush Speedster's head in the first episode of Invincible, and then he just kisses her out of fucking nowhere. It's gross. Like, that is just a disgusting action to take. There's not really a defense to it. And yet, now she's being attacked, not only by Luis Rubiales and everyone that's defending him on the upper echelon of those elite weirdos, but also just a bunch of other people have come to his defense, like, it's not a big deal. What? It's just kissing her on the lips without her consent. Who cares? I mean, that's fine. He was happy, she was happy, everyone was happy. It's a celebration. Don't be so uptight. Don't be such a prude. Which I think is some delusional, alarming thought processes going on with that if you're trying to justify this action. No matter how excited you are, you can't just start kissing people without their consent and without warning. It's not a good thing. There's no justification for it, period. And in response to all this, FIFA actually banned Rubiales and the Spanish Football Federation from contacting her to preserve her fundamental rights following the kiss. And apparently, she'd even been asked to alleviate the pressure on Rubiales. The absolute gall to say that to her. "Listen here, miss. You've created a lot of problems for Luis Rubiales. You forced him to kiss you on the lips. You were sending all kinds of signals that he picked up on, and you basically ripped the tongue out of his mouth and shoved it down your throat on the big stage. This is your fault, and it's up to you to fix this." It's fucking craziness. Holy shit. Now, obviously, she's very upset about this situation, and everyone else is as well. So there have been some resignations until proper action is taken, because right now, he's getting a slap on the wrist. They want him to resign from his position following this scandal, which I think is a reasonable request, but instead he's just getting a little bit of a little vacation, basically, and that's about it. He's not facing real consequences for these actions, and also, this is not the first time Luis Rubiales has found himself in some really degenerate hot water. Apparently, he was even siphoning funds out of the Federation in order to spend them on orgies. This is a sexual deviant. This is a fucking bad person, and yet he still has this incredibly high position of power. It's mind-blowing. So I went over this on stream where I learned about it, so I'm going to show you those clips going through all of it. Now, I don't really want to take any risks here, so I'm not going to play the clip just because I know how FIFA can get when it comes to their broadcasts, so you can easily find it. It is an extremely short clip that has every single piece of context that could possibly be relevant to what happened here. So, grabs her head, kisses her. It's a pretty big kiss, and sends her on her way. Like, pats her on the back on the way by afterward, as if he did nothing wrong, which is crazy. Also, the defense of Rubiales stems from actual imagination, like legitimately just make-believe nonsense. So, a lot of the professional players are withdrawing. They're saying that they will not play again for the country until Rubiales is removed from his position. And the Federation is saying that they actually have an obligation to participate if they're called for it. Like, no, you can't do that, which is a scary thing to say. Why not just actually remove the problem, which is Rubiales, instead of punishing everyone else who wants to make sure that it's a safe environment for everyone? But anyway, their evidence is that there was a deleted statement from Hermoso who said that she was totally okay with it. And Rubiales gave a speech saying several times that he would not stand down and called it unjust campaigns and fake feminism. He called the kiss, which took place after Hermoso collected her winner's medal, mutual, and described the conversation in which he asked the athlete for a small peck and she consented. If you watch the clip, this is not a small peck, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination. But anyway, she still came out and said, like, no, that is also just not true. She said that at no time did the conversation to which Mr. Luis Rubiales refers to in his address take place, and above all else, was his kiss ever consensual. She felt vulnerable and was not respected. So this is all just actual nonsense here from Rubiales and his team, it seems. I also don't know when this conversation would have even taken place. Like, how would they have even had a conversation about, hey, when you get on stage, let me grab your face and fucking kiss it, right? Like, when would that conversation have even happened before this moment? Like, it doesn't really add up. That's not making any sense. Spain's soccer chief, Luis Rubiales, is temporarily suspended after World Cup kiss. FIFA on Saturday suspended the head of Spain's soccer federation, Luis Rubiales, following allegations that he forcibly kissed a player during the Women's World Cup medal ceremony. This doesn't look like an allegation. That immediately looks like a kiss. I understand you have to say allegation as a publication, but I mean, he blatantly grabs her head and then kisses her. The way he grabs her head, too, is so aggressive. He looks like one of those bodybuilders doing a feat of strength where they blow up a watermelon in their hands. Jesus. It was an unacceptable gesture, and Mr. Rubiales' apologies are not enough. They are not even suitable. Therefore, he must continue taking steps to clarify what we saw. We continue to ask for the resignation of the man who has harassed and assaulted a woman. His excuses are useless. This person must resign. Yeah, agreed. This guy seems like a fucking weirdo. Dangerous weirdo. Someone that does this is one of those guys that has that, like, fuck you money, that kind of power where they feel like they can do anything and face no consequences. And it looks like that seems to be the case since he hasn't resigned, nor been forced to. I have to apologize. There's no other option, right? And furthermore, learn from this and understand that when you're the president of an institution as important as this federation, you have to be more careful, especially in ceremonies. Rubiales has previously called those criticizing him idiots. What do you mean I can't kiss any woman I want without any level of consent or anything? What kind of world are we living in? Fucking woke mind virus? Can't grab a woman's head and fucking kiss her? Unbelievable. It was a mutual gesture that was totally spontaneous, prompted by the huge joy of winning a World Cup. The Prezi and I have a great relationship. His behavior with all of us has always been 10 out of 10, and this was a natural gesture of affection and gratitude. So is this the actual woman saying this? But didn't she also up here say that she didn't like it? In a live stream of the team celebrating their locker room after the game, Hermoso says, I didn't like it. As she has apparently shown a video or photo of the kiss, she says, what do I do? Look at me. Look at me. So why is she saying this down here? Relvo reports that Hermoso did not actually write or say that statement. Source, I fucking made it up. No, she said she loved it. In fact, she said she wants to start dating the president. This is how they're announcing their marriage. It's Spain, dude. They kiss as a hello and goodbye. Well, tell that to Hermoso and everyone else with eyes. I can't say I've ever seen a greeting or a goodbye like this, where you go up to someone, you grab their skull, and you fucking plant a mean smooch on it without them wanting any part of that and obviously being very upset about it. And it's usually on the cheeks. He's been suspended. It'll bar Rubiales from all soccer-related activities at both the national and international level for the next 90 days while a disciplinary committee reviews the incident. He fully trusts FIFA and reiterates that in this way he is given the opportunity to begin his defense so that the truth prevails and his complete innocence is proven. The Federation said in a statement, "What do you mean? I watched it. Was this a premeditated, calculated marketing play or something? Like, what do you mean? The truth. What the fuck? We could all see him do it. What in the world? You're missing vital context. She grabbed his wiener. What was he supposed to do? It was free pizza. He didn't fuck her, she fucked him." This is an outrageous defense. There's not like more context. It's a 5-second clip and all of it happens within that 5 seconds. On Friday, the players from the Spanish national women's soccer team vowed to not play again until Rubiales and the other leaders stepped down. Oh, Jesus. That's pretty big. FIFA reiterates its absolute commitment to respect the integrity of all persons and therefore condemns with the utmost vigor any behavior to the contrary. Okay, well, ask him to step down then. Tell him he's got to go, Buster. Take a hike. Look at his other controversies. Is this something he's known for? A serial smoocher. Spanish football boss caught grabbing his crotch next to Queen and her underage daughter during his scandalous World Cup celebrations. What the fuck? He also apparently used the Federation's money for an orgy. Oh my god, I've got to look that up. If I just type in Luis Rubiales orgy, will it come up? Yes, it did. Luis Rubiales accused of hosting orgies with money from Spanish Football Federation. What? How did he get to keep his job from this? He used the Federation's money for orgies, and they're like, yeah, that's alright. Is he just the only one that's super open about it? Do they all use it for orgies? Luis Rubiales' name is increasingly being associated with scandal. This is in 2022, by the way. The president of the Spanish Football Federation was earlier forced to defend himself against the accusations of corruption in collaboration with Gerard Piqué, and now the anti-corruption department is investigating him again. According to El Mundo, Rubiales has been accused of hosting private parties at a chalet in the region of Granada. He used Federation money to fund these parties at which 8 to 10 young girls would arrive at the chalet. They were expensed under the pretense of work event at which the closest members of his team were present. The accusing party is Juan Rubiales, his uncle and former chief of staff. Juan also headed his campaign for the presidency of the RFEF before he was sacked in 2022. Among the statements, he accused his nephew of hiring private investigators to follow head of Spanish Players Association David Aganzo and telling him that he needed to find a way of getting money out of the Federation. Why wouldn't they care about that? How does he keep his job? Because they were invited. Oh, good point. It's been a pretty wild last couple of years for Roblox, with a lot of information being exposed about some very bad people in the community that have done some awful things, as well as even Roblox themselves putting on the clown suit and doing some absolute dumb, awful ideas, such as suing a YouTuber for $1.6 million, which ended up being a giant nothing burger and a huge mistake on their part. They just ended up looking really silly and stupid in that case, and really, Roblox has been kind of like Gotham City recently, with the amount of terrible shit going on and actual crime. I'm not exaggerating, real crime, and that's what I want to talk about today. Ruben Sim, the YouTuber that was being sued for $1.6 million, but walked away with a huge dub, has still been fighting the good fight against some predators in the Roblox developer community, and one of them is now looking at potentially 2 life sentences. So huge hats off to Ruben for helping make this happen. The FBI did step in and make the arrest after conducting their own thorough investigation on that same individual, and hopefully all of that goes well in court and is sentenced properly, because this shit is downright deplorable. And Ruben Sim also highlights all of the floundering that Roblox did when handling this. They didn't take any of this seriously. This was an open pedophile who was preying on minors in the community, saying terrible, awful shit, doing terrible things, and Roblox themselves did nothing to stop it, and it eventually culminated in this individual getting a 15-year-old girl into a stranger's Uber, going 700 miles across the country to meet him at his apartment, and authorities busting in shortly after since they were closely monitoring this guy. Overall, absolute dog shit handling of this case by Roblox. They did nothing to protect the children that use their service, and it is mostly children. They did nothing when confronted with this information about a pedophile who had an extremely popular game on their platform and was using that level of fame to actively prey on minors. They did nothing really to stop it. Ruben took it into his own hands and worked with other members of the community in order to try and get this individual held accountable and taken off of the platform. So great shit all around from Ruben. Definitely go show him some love. His channel link is in the description of this video. And now I'm just going to show you some of the video he made talking about all of this and going over it from top to bottom. A Roblox dev got arrested by the FBI. What, today? As in Ruben Sim's new video. But did it happen today, or is he covering the... Because I know one dev got arrested quite some time ago. So is this a new one? The arrest happened a few days ago. Oh, shit. Because there was a former dev that did get arrested. But that wasn't, like, super recent.
When I first learned about Arnold, I only knew him by his online aliases. He named himself Shedletsky, after one of Roblox's founders, John Shedletsky, and liked convincing people that he was his brother. Seems legit, right?
Let me see. Can you prove you're actually Shedletsky's brother? No, it would require effort. Couldn't care less about doing effort. Just got done doing the most complicated physics you'll ever see in Roblox. So any more effort can suck my dick. What? What? Is this the physics? He sent a screenshot of, what, a Chaos Emerald or something? Like, what is this supposed to fucking be? This weird little sapphire. That does look like the most complicated physics I have ever seen in my life, though. It's sonic spin dashing.
Over the span of 5 years, Arnold went from being one of Roblox's highest paid developers to being indicted on 2 felonies, facing 2 life sentences and $500,000 in fines.
Holy shit.
From what I understand, all of this started in 2017. Arnold was in the early stages of creating a Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off game called Sonic Simulator.
Oh my god, it actually was sonic spin dashing, wasn't it? This is a callback to something a while ago. Is this that YouTube channel that was like an open pedophile?
Spin-off game called Sonic Simulator. Here's a video from his YouTube channel showing...
That guy also made Sonic games, though, which is fucking wild. The guy that was, like, openly admitted to being a pedophile.
Got 90 million visits. It was well monetized, fully voiced, and it had a decently sized community. And that's where the problems began.
It was pretty common knowledge that these jokes were being made in my community. Maybe not to the extent it actually occurred,
Jesus Christ.
but definitely known. So far as to the point where I was known as the old man with kids in his basement.
We'll come back to this video later.
Are you sure that's someone different? Because I feel like we heard that. Are these 2 different people? No, this is a brand new video. I definitely haven't seen this. Here, I'll just pull up what I'm talking about, so that way we can immediately compare. I don't know why I'm asking the fucking chat, who half the time suffers from short-term memory loss anyway. I think it was called the Andrew Files that did the deep dive. Is this the one I'm thinking? No, actually, it was, this was something different. It was, oh, God. There's been so many goddamn Roblox predators. What? My God. People make games. Thank you. That was the one. I couldn't remember the full video on that. Yeah, people make games. The Roblox pressured us to delete our video.
Content one?
They covered someone in here that I think is the same guy that we're talking about right now, who's facing the 2 life sentences. Yeah, responding to the document allegations. Okay, so then this is someone we learned about. I really thought it was familiar. Yeah, because of the Jeter Man YouTube channel.
Apologizing for the things I've said.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't have said those things regardless of the context. Moving forward, I will not have this behavior.
Okay. So this guy finally got justice delivered then from the sound of things here.
You're the reason I'm going to end up behind bars. Wow, that one aged well. These are just a few of the messages Arnold
he wasn't wrong.
Girl, and she wasn't the only one.
My sense of humor has always been very harsh. Dark humor, if you will.
Oh,
and while it doesn't excuse my behavior, it does reveal that I had no intention on moving on any of the things I said.
I can just hear the fedora in his voice. Right now he's got a pinky up as he's saying these things. Ugh. Christ.
By the way, Arnold uses a voice changer to make his voice sound deeper. Here's what he actually sounds like.
What?
Moving forward, I will not have this behavior. This shouldn't have been a joke in the first place.
He was very careful with what he said because he knows not to step over the fine line of joking around.
Yeah, that's the impression I got from seeing these messages. Yeah. That seems like a guy he knows where to tap dance on the line between right and wrong when it comes to jokes. Interesting.
Obviously, the DMs that were exchanged between Jaden and the victims were not okay.
Also, there's nothing quite like calling minors to prove you're not a pedophile. Quite the big brain strategy. No, look, I'm not a pedophile. Here's a 17-year-old on my payroll who can say such.
Towards the end of the video, he shifts the blame onto the 12-year-old and calls her an attention seeker.
First things first. Red, what I said to you earlier about my apology was completely sincere, and I hope you can someday let go of this hatred. However, I will call you out on this because you cannot be claiming to be an angel.
Yes, victim blaming the child. What's really sad is looking at the like-dislike ratio here. He didn't, get slapped down with the dislikes. So he must have actually had support from the community, which is fucking crazy.
Since the video is over half an hour long, I created my own video breaking it down in less than 7 minutes. Surprisingly, Arnold's main account was deleted not long after my conversation with this staff member. Arnold, however, prepared for this.
Also, I'm pretty sure this account is on the... So Roblox has a public wall of shame that is actively updated anytime there's movement like that with bans. What is it called? I think it's Roblox... They have an FBI's Most Wanted for Roblox, and I can't remember what they call it. Does anyone remember? Is it terminated players? Because I remembered it being more than that. But there's a different one, though. That's much more focused on the worst of the worst. Is it oh, it's controversial. Here it is. Thanks. Yeah. You have a mugshot and then why they're controversial. Surely he would be here, I would think. Or maybe this is too extreme for even the controversial wanted board. On September 9th, 2021, his account was terminated for swearing in front of a Roblox intern using voice chat on one of his alternative accounts. And he's earned his place in the Hall of Evil of Roblox. So yeah, perhaps actual pedophilia and shit is a little too extreme to be on this wiki. I think that makes sense.
If DevRel really wanted to protect their users, they'd have deleted his game and curbed his Roblox income. Roblox's bottom line depends on parents trusting the company with their kids' safety, and that's not going to happen if this is the response to child predators.
Very true, but I think one thing Ruben misunderstands is parents don't even care if the shit's safe for their kids. They just need something to distract them. So much parenting these days is just placing a fucking iPad in front of them and letting them go unmonitored on the internet, unsupervised, and then getting mad if something happens and blaming the companies for it. That's just the most fucking common parenting technique at this point. I don't even think they care if Roblox is necessarily safe as long as it doesn't cost them money somehow or cause some kind of issue.
2 weeks later, he tweeted, "Thanks for driving more money to my game, man.
Oh my
Jeez,
God.
You guys are really fucking stupid by giving me all this publicity."
Man's capitalizing off being outed as a pedophile, talking about raping kids. To the kids.
I spoke with a detective who really seemed like he wanted to help, but since I didn't know anything about Arnold's real identity, there wasn't much they could do. The only people who could have known who he actually was Roblox. Since Arnold was approved for the developer exchange, they must have had all his personal info. Had someone at Roblox been the one to make that call, it's my belief that Arnold would have been arrested years ago. Less than 4 months later, Arnold posted a YouTube video showing that he's still the owner of the game. I also noticed the same Discord server he was using to procure underage girls was still linked on his game's page. I messaged the staff member asking if they could remove it, and his response was, "They can just add it back." Things stayed pretty quiet.
That's who works at Roblox? Actual children too? That's some shit I'd say as a kid, what's the point in showering? I'm just gonna get dirty again. It's not even the point. like, taking action is still worth it, even if it could just be added again.
I really didn't have time to continue with all this. I'd just gone through a lawsuit from Roblox, and I really wanted to get back to making videos, so I forgot about everything until May, when one of my viewers told me Arnold had disappeared. He wasn't talking in his Discord server or responding to messages. A few people thought he killed himself. As it turns out, Arnold had been arrested by the FBI.
Following some breaking news
God damn.
6 o'clock, 22-year-old Arnold Castillo of New Jersey is facing federal charges. The reason we're covering this
In December, he took interest in another underage girl from his Discord server.
Oh
This girl
shit,
was
okay.
15. Arnold was 28. and
So
he
the FBI
decided
went on
to
their own
bribe an
side
Uber
quest and
driver
got him.
$1,000 to have her picked up and transported 700 miles across state lines to his home in New Jersey. When her mom noticed she was missing, she called the police. 2 days passed before she was able to meet with a sergeant and a detective at police headquarters, where she told them about Arnold. She knew of him by his fake name, and the fact that a few months prior he had placed orders on Amazon to her house, including several $1,000s worth of electronics that were canceled after the delivery deadline was missed. The police got a hold of Arnold over the phone, and of course he claimed his name was Jacob Shedletsky.
Can you just imagine a world where Roblox actually takes pedophiles seriously, and then he's never in a position where he pays an Uber driver to transport a child 700 miles away from her parents to be with him? That is entirely on Roblox's plate right there. That is entirely their fucking fault. This could have been squashed 2 years. Well, this was 2022. Yeah, 2 years prior.
In the video, Castillo's voice can be heard narrating over images regarding allegations that he is a pedophile. Based on his vocalized rebuttals, the allegations sourced from unidentified fellow social media users who were reportedly juveniles. Those users had apparently informed Castillo that they were teenagers, and he ensued by making sexual advances and other derogatory remarks towards them.
This has to be one of the first times where a YouTuber apology video is actually cited in a legitimate arrest. That's big. Dr. Rofatnik really fucked Arnold Castillo here by making that apology video with the deep voice modulator.
When I learned about all this, I called my local police back and asked them to forward the info I gave them to the FBI. Arnold has since pled not guilty, and his trial is scheduled for November 7th.
He'll take a plea deal. No doubt in my mind. He's not going to try and fight it. With the overwhelming evidence and a physical sting operation that observed a minor going into his apartment after being reported as missing, and then the $1,000 bribe to the Uber driver to bring them there, and the getting all of his messages, no shot. He's going to take a plea deal. Really fumbled that one there, huh, Roblox? This is still all supposed. Well, he's not found guilty on it yet, I suppose. So yeah, I suppose the right word is alleged. But he has himself confirmed all of the things he said to minors, even blamed them for attention seeking by bringing it up. And then the goddamn FBI investigated and caught physical evidence, watched a minor go into his apartment after the whole missing persons report on a child. It's pretty solid evidence, I would say. I think we can at least surmise with a high level of confidence that not guilty is probably not the right word here. God damn. That is actually crazy. Good shit, Ruben. Ruben is actually like the Batman of Roblox. Even though he wasn't the one that ended up leading to the arrest of the Predator, I still think his information is going to be integral to the case. They found the apology video on their own, but Ruben compiled like all other relevant information to forward to them. So now this guy's facing 2 life sentences, right? Is that what it was? Yeah, 2 life sentences. And this could have all been avoided. Well, this guy was a pedophile before Roblox, but the actual victim going there in person could have been avoided had Roblox just done the bare minimum of taking a pedophile seriously. At the very least, he has been caught, which is more than we can say for the other predators from Roblox that we learned about over the last year or so. I think now is the easiest time in history to be a parent. Back in the earlier days, you had to make sure your kid didn't fall off a cliff or get hit by a stray arrow, mauled by a lion, fall victim to dysentery on the Oregon Trail. It was tough to be a parent back then, But now I think it's super easy because you can just give your kid an iPad and let the internet raise them for you, and then get mad when your kid isn't exactly an upstanding citizen and blame everyone but yourself. But for parents that want to be a little more involved in their kids' lives, luckily there are some great departments that are offering invaluable knowledge on how to be the worst possible parent ever. This is coming from the OC Sheriff, who posted this tweet. Do you know how to properly search your child's room? If not, stick around for our first episode of #ParentAware with Sergeant Gunsley. I think there is a 0% chance this guy's name is actually Gunsley. This has to be an alias. It's too fitting. Fucking Sergeant Gunsley? What are you gonna tell me next? That ParentAware episode 2 is hosted by Bill Bazooka? Fucking Paul Danger? Like, goddamn.
I'm Sergeant Brian Gunsley with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and today I'm going to show you how to search your child's room. The first step is to remove the child, or the teenager in this case, from the room. You don't want them in the room because their protests may distract you from doing a thorough search. Hey pal, gonna need you to leave the room. Thanks, we'll talk later.
This is the oldest teenager of all time. Dude looks like he's going on 40 years old. Like, who is this, Benjamin Button? Jesus Christ, dude's got like a thick 5 o'clock shadow. I like how he's immediately treating his son like a criminal, like, hey pal, I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here. I'm surprised he didn't like kick down the door, weapon drawn, like, get on the ground, I'm searching the room. And he just tases him anyway, just for the sake of it. Like, you're not gonna interrupt.
It's important to search your child's room every once in a while, like I would say about every 6 months. Unless you suspect that they're using drugs or alcohol, then you're gonna wanna do it more often.
He treats his household like it's boot camp. Alright, champ, it's time for your weekly room inspection. Go report to Corporal Hollow Point and give me 500 push-ups before you eat your green bean casserole. So I don't think I need to explain to you why doing this is a horrible violation of your kid's privacy and is absolutely going to lead to a lot of problems in your relationship with your family. But I think I'll explain it anyway. Anyone who's ever been a kid, which I'm assuming is everyone except this guy, I guess was just created in a lab to be the most generic NPC police officer ever. Fucking Captain America over here, never had a childhood. Anyone who did knows how awful it feels to think that your parents don't trust you. It makes you not trust them, and it makes you resent them.
So what I recommend is to start searching from top to bottom and then left to right. So here I would start searching in this plant, and then go across to the right, and then we'll search into whatever containers that are here. I always want to look inside the containers and inspect things thoroughly. See, here we have a container with, looks like a place for someone to hide something, so I'm going to hang on to that. Certainly want to talk about that in a little bit.
What a weird item of interest. It's just an empty bottle. Like, that's super normal. What do you mean you're going to have a talk with them about that? What is that conversation going to look like? Come here, son. Look, I found it. That empty bottle of vitamin gummies. Bet you're using it to store drugs, aren't you? You break my heart. I raise you better than this. Get out of my house.
When it comes to books, you just want to search through all the pages and just see if you see anything. Here we have a picture, it looks like, of a child with a gun to their head. This may indicate that they're thinking about committing suicide. So that's something that we want to talk about with our child.
Yeah, that sounds about par for the course. If my dad was like this, I'd probably have stick figure drawings of a gun to my head as well. If you're the kind of parent that's actually going to follow this advice and routinely kick their kids out of their room so you can thoroughly search it like you're looking for a fucking treasure map, you should go in expecting something like this, some cries for help to let you know that they're miserable. I also really like the background music here, the royalty-free Facebook shit. Really helps elevate the tutorial.
So here we have something. This looks like a scale of some sort. So that could be used by someone who's maybe purchasing drugs or selling drugs. So that's something that's disguised. We'll hang on to that.
Pretty fucking cool scale, but it makes it feel like this whole thing was filmed in 1998. Why the fuck would someone disguise a scale as a PlayStation 1 video game? You draw more attention with that than anything else. Like, that is some old school shit. Obviously, this is all set up for the tutorial here, but I like to imagine it all is real spur of the moment. Like, he just barges into his son's room, get the fuck out, I'm searching for contraband, and this is the result. So, like, in that case, I feel like his son is innocent, and Sergeant Gunsley's framing him, like he's setting him up. This definitely belongs to an older man. There's no way a kid who's selling drugs is disguising their scale as PlayStation 1 Tetris. No chance. But that does seem like something an out-of-touch cop would do to try and bust people undercover. You know, like just parading around. I do love these video games, am I right, kids? We love Tetris and PlayStation, right? Oh! Heroin just fell out. That's super weird. No one's a cop here, right? Like, you guys wouldn't want to buy this, would you?
Looks like a container of some sort. Let me see what's inside. We have hidden in here, we have some, looks like marijuana. So I am going to hang on to this. We're going to have a little talk about that. Some teens use this to get high. They can use this as a huffing device. So if you have dust off or any type of computer duster in the room, we want to remove that because that could be used as something dangerous and that could be deadly.
Imagine Sergeant Gunsley just hits a mean whippet on camera. Kids use this to get high, and so do I. That'd be fucking great. Now, this is the first thing he's done that seems reasonable to me. You know, keyboard cleaner is very dangerous. You don't want that anywhere around your kids. And I just don't think he went far enough because there's a window right there. That's extremely dangerous. His kid at any moment could throw himself through that window and kill himself. So I think he needed to put some bars on the window to keep them safe and maybe even pad the walls a little bit because we don't want him to like hit the wall kind of hard and hurt himself. Just, I think we should start taking a little more inspiration from the isolation units at prison in order to keep our kids safe. If your first thought upon going into your kid's room and seeing keyboard cleaner is, oh my god, they must be using this to get high, then you have already utterly failed as a parent and something has gone awry.
And also, it's very important to be respectful of the child's property.
Yeah, Sergeant Gunsley, very respectful. He's over here acting like Mr. Krabs on the panty raid, just going through all of like his boxers and shit, like looking for anything in his pockets. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of is, wow, look at how delicate he's being.
Here we have some more clothing. Looks like everything's okay there. Oh, I have a pipe hidden inside some socks. Ajax, I don't know why this would be in his room, so I would inspect that a little better. In fact, here we have another container that we will talk to him about. And certainly you want to collect all these items. They shouldn't have them in their room.
Good lord, who's his son? Cobra Commander? What's he gonna pull out next? A golden AK-47 from under his bed? He's really hit the jackpot here.
And here I have a couple of little baggies. It looks like they may have had some drugs in them or something at some point. So that's another indicator.
In the pursuit of locating drugs in his son's room, no price is too high. Sergeant Gunsley even starts tugging on his son's crusty cum sock just to look for more clues of drugs. He's like Scooby-Doo, but really gross.
So this looks like it might be something. I'm familiar with this as a container. So this is something that people can buy online, these hidden compartments. So as you can see, it has liquid above and below, but the container, it's a false container in the middle that people can hide things in there.
This part really just felt like an ad for that Mountain Dew secret container there. That shit looked awesome. And Officer Gunsley comes in hot. He's like, yeah, you can find this online. And then I half expected him to drop a link to his own blog. Like, yeah, you can find this online at gunsleycrafts.com if you want to purchase one.
Journals are good to go through. As a parent, you have every right to search your child's room. There is no legal problem with that. So be sure to take advantage of that and search your child's room while they're under the age of 18. Here, we just want to take a look through the journal and just see if there's anything suspicious. And here's a page where it looks like they're drawing pictures of marijuana references on here.
If you have to be reassured that what you're doing isn't technically illegal, then it's probably very immoral, and you're not exactly the hero in the story. But to be fair, we were able to locate some crayon doodles of weed in a journal, so really the ends justify the means, and now we know our son is not only a criminal, but an extremely untalented one when it comes to art.
And this is a highlighter, which appears to be a highlighter, but this is something that can be purchased online, and what it is a pipe, and it just hides within the highlighter.
Nothing gets past the keen eyes of Officer Gunsley. The man's omniscient. Not even the Inspector Gadget crack pipe was enough to get by him. What another cool little gadget, which he again mentions you can find online, which to me just feels like he's advertising it, to be fair. But goddamn, that would be like the last thing I suspect. To be like, a fucking highlighter, right in the trash. I wouldn't think to like go to the secret ass end of it and look for a crack pipe. Fucking go-go gadget crack pipe, and somehow he knows about it. Goddamn, he's too good.
It's very important to conduct a safety search like this because you want to know whether or not they're using drugs. Best way to prevent adult addiction is to intervene early when they're young. So this is the time to prevent a lifelong struggle with addiction.
And create a lifelong resentment of you, their parents. This also isn't going to prevent a struggle with addiction. This may only reinforce an addiction. This is just an all-around horrible idea for parents everywhere. Yeah, thanks Orange County Sheriff, and thank you Officer Gunsley for showing us exactly how to be the worst fucking dad that you can be. That's it. See ya.